Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vegans Across the World. Today, we have two wonderful guests with us, Zdenek and Michael in the Czech Republic. Zdenek, I hope I am saying your name right. It is a bit of a tongue twister.
Yes,
but
it's correct.
but welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show everybody exactly where you're at. And I'm going to give a little bit of information about the area. So a little bit about the Czech Republic. You guys, I'm going to focus into where you're at exactly. It's Olomouc.
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 Olomouc. Okay, there you are. Okay, so a little bit about the Czech Republic. It's also known as Czechia or Czechoslovakia when I was growing up. It's a landlocked country in Central Eastern Europe. It is bordered by Austria, Germany, Poland, and Slovakia. They rank 27th most environmentally friendly country in the world and has 4 national parks. It is a developed country with an advanced high-income social market economy and a very complex political history. I can't even go into most of it, but a little bit about that history is Nazi Germany took control in 1938. There was actually a concentration camp north of Prague. Czechoslovakia was restored in 1945 and became an Eastern Bloc communist state following a coup d'etat in 1948. And in 1989, the Velvet Revolution ended communist rule. And in 1993, Czechoslovakia was dissolved, becoming an independent state of the Czech Republic and Slovakia. So the Czech Republic is the 7th safest country in the world. They have a huge expat community. They also have the most castles in Europe and the largest castle in Europe, and or the largest ancient castle, I should say, in the world. And this, I had to look up. This is really interesting. It's the home of defenestration. I think, which basically means throwing someone out of a window.
True.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that?
Yes.
You did. I had to look that up. I was like, what is defenestration? And I guess that came from like somebody threw a ruler out of a castle window at one point or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, that was in 1618 in Prague.
Wow. And so that's how they took over, basically, is they just threw out a ruler out of a window, out of a castle window.
It wasn't a ruler. It were the.
Is a political person?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't really see like the exact like history or like the exact history of it. But that was just throwing somebody. I had to look up what defenestration meant. I never heard of that before. And it's throwing somebody out of a window. So you're the home of that, or the Czech Republic is the home of throwing somebody out of a window. Well, anyway, here's on a good note. The Czech Republic are also the heaviest consumers of beer.
Yes.
Prost. How do you say it there?
Prost.
Prost.
No, that's German.
Yeah, I know. Prost is German. Say it again.
Na zdraví.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to say that.
Means
but anyway.
to help.
But anyway, there's a population of over 10 million people as of the 2019 census. So I'm going to remove that and get back to us, guys. I think that's really interesting. And you know what? I've always wanted to come to the Czech Republic. It looks like an incredibly beautiful city. So, guys, let's go ahead and get to you. So, let's go ahead and tell us what do you do, and what kind of activism are you involved in? Michael, would you like to start?
Sure. Yeah. So, for a living, I do web design, graphic design, internet marketing, and hopefully soon music too.
Don't you already do music? I've seen your music online.
Yes, I've been a musician since I was 5. So I started playing the piano when I was 5, but I've been doing a lot of music since my teens and releasing, self-publishing. But now I'm in the process of publishing my music on all the common platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. So into the future, my vision is to make a living with that as well, and to advance the cause of veganism with that. We can talk about that.
That's great. Zdenek, what about you?
So I was born in the Czech Republic. I study linguistics, and occasionally I do some translations. I teach languages. I would like to continue studying linguistics and get a doctorate. When it comes to activism that I'm involved in, lately it's been a lot of academic activism, like writing papers related to veganism, for instance, about the regulations of the European Union that the European Union imposed on plant-based products. It's actually regulation of language that the plant-based products can use. For instance, they wanted to ban the word. They actually banned the word milk from
plant-based milk.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, because that's right down your alley. See, just goes to show that we all have different talents, and we can all use those different talents, no matter what they are, in order to fight for animal liberation.
Exactly.
So just for the people watching out there, something I forgot to mention at the beginning of this, because we were having a nice jovial talk beforehand, but I've actually met Michael and Zdenek. I actually have hung out with them in New York City at the Week of Truth, which was my last vacation, probably for you guys too.
More or less.
And it was my 50th birthday. It's almost 2 years ago. It was my 50th birthday. But we actually did hang out in New York. And that's why I'm so thrilled and so happy to see them again. And yes, I knew that about Michael, that he is a musician, and Zdenek is a polyglot. So, and he's interested in language. So, which I am jealous of both. But so yeah, it just goes to show that no matter what your little niche is in life, you can use that to some advantage to help the animals. As mundane as it may sound, that you just, study language or whatever that is, that's a huge help. We need people in every niche that can help the animals, because language is extremely important to legislation, and people may not think about that. Music touches hearts and mind, or hearts and souls. People don't think. Use whatever your talents are. Try to find a way to use it for the animals. So anyway, that's my little tangent about that before we even got off the first question.
Well, it was a great overall experience, the whole week of truth, and then bonding with so many people, and it was great to hang out with you afterwards.
Yeah, it was
This last day.
meeting so many wonderful people, meeting you guys, hanging out that day before you had to leave. Just a wonderful experience of meeting vegans from all over the world, which is what part of this is about. You know, connecting and know that people are out there, and we have similar struggles, etc. You know what I mean? So let me just ask you, where are you originally from? Michael, why don't you start? Where are you originally from?
So I was born in the city of Olomouc. Almost right here, not right here, but yeah, I was born in Olomouc. I grew up in Germany.
So you were born where you're at now.
Right.
But you grew up in Germany. How old
I
were
grew
you
up in Germany. I spent over a decade in Southern Oregon.
Okay.
And a couple of years in Canada, Montreal and Vancouver. I've also lived a few months in South Britain, and then returned to Germany and Czech Republic, kind of returned to Europe, and then ended up back at my birthplace.
Wow. So it was full circle, but you got to travel around for quite a while. So Zdenek, what about you? Are you originally from there?
Yeah, I'm originally from here. I've spent my whole life here.
But you have traveled, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. I've traveled a bit across Europe. I've been also to Egypt and to the US.
Obviously, New York, I know because I saw you there. But anywhere else in the U.S. that you've been?
I visited 6 US states with Mike.
You traveled with Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys ended up what you rented a car that day. You had to go out to the East Coast to do an
exactly,
interview.
Yeah, we took a train from Grand Central.
I remember I was the bad influence that kept saying, "Let's just have another beer before you get the train."
It was great. We were at a German restaurant, right?
That's right. We did. We went to a German restaurant and we had pretzels with mustard. So
then we rented a car and we drove up north through Connecticut to Massachusetts. We met with Marlene Nero.
Yes.
And she did an interview on Vegan Nation with us.
Vegan Nation. By the way, guys, if you don't know what Vegan Nation is, great podcast. Marlene Nero, great vegan activist. I maybe will include her information since we've mentioned her during this. Include that information below this video. And also, just so you guys know, any social media contacts or groups or anything like that, links that you want me to include, everybody look below the video when this airs. It will be there. So go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry. So you went out to talk to Vegan Nation.
Yeah. So we had a really nice interview with Vegan Nation, and then we went to Boston.
What did you think? What did you think of the East Coast? What did you think when you?
I've been there before, and I really like the East Coast, even though I was living on the West Coast for such a long time. It was like to me, this is like a mix between the European culture and the US Western culture.
Yeah. What about you, Zdenek? What do you think of your trip on the East Coast?
Well, everything in America is twice as big as in Europe.
Including the bathrooms.
That's true.
Yeah, you know what? I've known some people from Europe. I haven't had the pleasure of spending more than like 8 hours in Amsterdam before I went to the Middle East. I was on a trip to the Middle East, but yeah, things are a little tighter there, a little bit tighter. But nonetheless, I would love to travel all over the place there. So let's talk about what the culture is like, what the culture and the food are like where you guys are at. I know the food obviously has a lot to do with culture sometimes, anywhere that you go. Just tell us a little bit about that.
So all of Central Europe kind of shares a similar culture historically. So, this country was once part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Mhm.
Prior to that, there was the Great Moravian Empire. Our region is actually called Moravia. So we have
Mhm.
Bohemia. So Czech Republic is split up into Bohemia and Moravia, and it was also part of a German empire. So the cuisines are very similar. The German, Austrian, Czech, Slovak cuisine, also Polish. It's all similar, and it is historically based on a lot of flesh consumption, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But in the recent years, there's been a great movement in the restaurant and food business to look for all these alternatives, of course, worldwide. But vegan restaurants, vegan chefs, and vegan manufacturers have become really sophisticated at producing something similar to what people know. So it's easier for them to make the switch. So we see a lot of, so for example, a national dish is, Zdenek, you know this better, how to say this in Czech.
Yes. You mean svíčková or?
Yeah, svíčková. Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. Svíčková is basically like a sauerbraten type of thing with dumplings.
Sirloin.
Okay.
So
you're
you can
seeing a
get
lot
now,
of chefs coming up and being more experimental, and restaurants having more plant-based options.
right. They try to mimic the non-vegan food
Sure.
by making it plant-based because people are used to it, and
Yeah.
it's really delicious. Yeah.
That sounds exciting. So let me ask you guys, how long have you been vegan? Michael, why don't you go first? Tell us how long you've been vegan.
It's going to be 5 years in July.
Okay. Zdenek,
And it was, yeah.
3 years.
3 years. So now tell me, let's go back to Michael. Tell me what was what flipped the switch for you? What made you want to go vegan?
The very first thing was a YouTube video by Melanie Joy about carnism. I think it was a TED Talk, her TED Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met someone special who inspired me too. And what really triggered for me to omit meat right away was Earthlings.
So you saw
Gary
and Gary Yourofsky, yeah. So you saw the documentary Earthlings, and then heard Gary's speech, and everything came together, and finally snapped you into it.
Right, not right away vegan, but that day I said no more meat, and it was by chance I had no more meat in the fridge anyway, so it took me another 7 months to just sort my thoughts and go vegan. Actually, the only reason why I didn't go vegan right away was because I thought there was some sort of a humane way to keep cows without stealing their milk, without kidnapping their babies. But once I found out there's no such way, it just made click.
And I think a lot of people, it's like that. It's like they just think that you don't have to hurt cows to take the milk; they just produce it, and it's really hard to get that out of your head that you've been lied to about that all your life. Zdenek, tell us what made you make the switch. What flipped that switch for you to become vegan?
The first thing I saw was Gary Yourofsky's speech. But what I really needed was meeting some real vegans, right? So at first I had a vegetarian classmate who influenced me a little bit. That I started, eating less animal flesh, and when I went to the university, I finally met some vegans, and I realized that veganism, when there are some vegans, then veganism must be a moral imperative, right? So
Yeah,
I became a vegan too.
that's awesome. So, do you remember making that decision, or when was like the day you woke up and said, "That's it. I'm just no meat, eggs or dairy, or I'm just not going to do it anymore." Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah, on the 1st of July. Uh,
So you
that's
guys, you and
when-
Michael, kind of share similar anniversaries there.
Yeah,
There you
July.
go.
From
Yeah,
I think for
July.
me it was the 11th of July.
See,
7/11.
I wish I remembered when it was. I don't. I have no idea when it was. It was like a process of me learning because I didn't have social media. It was 15 years ago for me, but I didn't have the social media we have now, or even that we had like 7 years ago. But so it was a bit of a process and a bit of digging on my own part, effort on my own part. Whereas now you can just you don't have to make much of an effort. People offer it to you, the information. Um, so I don't remember the exact date for me. I just remember the age I was. But so I don't have a vegan anniversary. So go ahead. You said it was July 1st. What happened?
It's been already quite a long time since I was almost vegan or thinking about going vegan, but um, I always got into, some uh, situation when it felt uncomfortable to, say that I don't want to eat this and that, right? But on the 1st of July, I finally told myself that I won't eat uh, anything from animals anymore.
So this is a question I've not asked my guests before, but it came into my head. Michael, maybe you want to answer first. Since you do know what your vegan anniversary was, what was that first day like when you came upon the first thing that you had to make the decision to say no? Like you would have usually that had dairy, for example, or eggs in it, not flesh, but eggs or dairy that you usually would have said okay to, and then suddenly you had to remember, no, I'm not doing that. What was that like?
Well, now that I reminisce about that day, it was like a big stone fell off my heart, like of my chest, really. Like
Yeah.
it just really felt like that because I went to a store called Natural Grocers. I was in the US back then.
Okay.
And I remember, okay, I'm gonna go find some vegan cream cheese because I was a cream cheese lover.
Okay.
And I found some soy vegan cream cheese that was really tasty. And I told myself, oh my gosh, how come I didn't do this a long time ago?
That's awesome. That's great. That's a great memory. So that leads us into say or to asking, are any of your family or friends vegan?
Unfortunately, not so much.
Okay.
I just reconnected with a friend from the United States who's actually from Mexico. And he told me the great news that he's been vegan roughly the same amount of time as me. So that's great news. And I
That's
think,
awesome.
yeah, thank you. And I know I've influenced a few friends through social media. And so I think a couple of friends went vegan. A few friends have reduced, which in my mind means nothing to the animals, of
Yeah.
course. Family, unfortunately, nobody from my family turned vegan.
Yeah.
My mom tried vegetarian. Actually, she didn't try. She just went vegetarian, but then she didn't keep it up. But she doesn't eat a lot of meat. She cooks vegan for me, So she eats the same thing as I do when she cooks and when I visit her.
Okay, Zdenek, what about you?
Well, it's similar to what Mike said. Nobody from my family is vegan, but I have a lot of vegan friends. Some vegan classmates, and
Now,
yeah.
have you made these vegan friends? Have you made them through activism, or have you created them like your classmates? Have you influenced them, or they just happen to go vegan on their own?
Well, mostly I met them mostly through activism, but uh, I have one friend that I actually made him go vegan. He was my classmate. Now he's also my roommate at the dormitory. And
And you just say, "No flesh in this house."
no, he actually, or we decided to become roommates because he went vegan. So he wanted me to, to teach him to cook vegan food and so on. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's great to have that support system too. At the end of the day, it really is. When you're out in the regular world, you know what I mean. And sometimes it gets to you, and it's good to have somebody uh, that you're living with connect with you, where uh, in a way that's your safe space. You know, when you come into your home, you don't have to worry about seeing eggs or cheese in the refrigerator, and you can be in your comfort zone, and you can support each other. That's wonderful. I love that. So, now that you guys have been vegan for a while, just tell us what are your we all have those struggles. My family isn't vegan as well. I've been vegan for a long time, so I've actually built another community and friendships with vegans, and lost some old friends that weren't, and have refused to go vegan. I still have some friends from the past that aren't vegan, um, but tell us, what do your friends or family who aren't vegan, what do they think about your veganism now?
Well, now as opposed to 5 or 4 years ago, they have accepted that. They know I'm not going to change
Yeah.
back. There's in my mind, if you make that switch in your head, it's there forever. You're vegan for life, right? And so they have accepted it. At the beginning, here and there with different discussions, they called me extremist or radical, but that has sort of dwindled down. So now they really accept it. And even some friends, like we go out for a beer, and some friends even speak up for me because I have to ask questions at a beer garden: is this vegan or is this not? Like when it comes to snacks or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely even support from non-vegans, which is great. I'm very thankful for that.
That's great. Zdenek, what about you?
Yeah, again, a similar answer. At the beginning, my family um, didn't know anything about veganism and was quite skeptical. Uh,
Did they give you a hard time? Were they mean about it? Were they just concerned? Did they
yeah,
tease you? What happened?
yeah, I think they were quite concerned, but uh, when I teach them or showed them that uh, it's completely fine to be vegan, they accepted it, and now it's completely fine for me, and they cook vegan food even for themselves quite regularly. And, yeah.
So what about like holiday gatherings, family gatherings? Do they your families make dishes for you? Do they eat vegan with you when you go out? What's that like?
Well, we usually eat the same food, so it's some vegan food, but sometimes they just add, some animal flesh instead of tofu or tempeh to their plates, right?
Maybe you need to teach them how to make seitan.
Right.
So, what about you, Michael? How do you handle family gatherings and holidays? How does your family handle that?
So this is really interesting. It turned out that the universe just kind of orchestrated the things that we just don't go out to dinners anymore. We go out for beer or drinks, and usually you'll have chips or snacks. So that's vegan by nature. And family gatherings, I mean, I visit my mom. As far as the other family goes, we don't really gather so much anymore. It just kind of turned out this way. It's almost like the family senses that, so they don't like offer it. Maybe they would feel uncomfortable, or maybe they don't want me to feel uncomfortable, which is totally fine by me. I've tried to, like, in a few situations we went out to lunch, and I've tried to say, hey, let's go out to this vegan restaurant, and they were kind of not that willing. So
Really? See, I guess I've been lucky that when that situation has come up, my friends and family, for the most part, have been willing to go to a vegan restaurant with me. So,
well, they were willing. I mean, I think once well, one, it was this raw vegan restaurant in Olomouc. It's no longer there, and so raw vegan, that's like, for some people that's harder.
actually, if you can find a raw vegan restaurant, that's usually some of the best vegan food you can get because it's really like gourmet. Um, Raw vegan obviously is not a lifestyle or a justice movement or
Right.
anything like that. As a matter of fact, believe me, raw vegans, sometimes they're not even vegan, believe it or not. But if you find a raw vegan restaurant, the food is outstanding.
It is. And after they've been gone, and there was another vegan restaurant that disappeared, I remember I went with them to a carnage restaurant that had vegan options. And of course, what do they eat? Just the carnage stuff while I eat the vegan option. So that's
How do
what I
you
meant.
how do you handle that now? Do you? I mean, for example, I made the Liberation Pledge on my own before I knew what it was. And it was just for my own sanity, really. It was just something at a holiday.
Wow.
Finally, I'd had enough, and I didn't even know what Liberation Pledge was, but I made that pledge to myself, basically. So I just call it the Liberation Pledge because everybody knows what that means as a vegan. How do you handle that? Are you still able to sit down at a table when they're doing that during holidays?
Well, for me, it doesn't have sense, at least at home, when I'm with some friends, which is not too often. I sometimes talk to them about it. We figure it out somehow.
Good. That's great.
So yeah, I took the Liberation Pledge too a couple of years ago. And I told my friends, my non-vegan friends. So
How did they take it?
They started respecting it. I mean, I think a couple of people were like, "Oh, come on, Michael, what are you doing here? This is ridiculous." Kind of that kind of comment. But later on, they respected it, and it's like we don't go out for dinner either. We just go out for a drink. So we're a group of friends. We play tennis, we play doubles, and then we go out for a beer. And just the other day,
have you tried it the other way around, like going out for a beer and then playing tennis?
Once we were almost going to do that, and then we were saying, "Oh yeah, that's going to be tough. All the balls are going to fly out, probably." So
it'd be a whole different game.
Yeah. But we should try that again. I mean, one beer is not gonna make any difference, I think, for
Oh,
tennis.
goodness.
Maybe, tennis is a mind game a lot. So when you're relaxed, you might actually end up playing better because
There you go.
you won't
Okay.
think too much about, am I gonna play
Or
it?
just make tennis the drinking game.
That
Make
could
a
be.
drinking game out of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I'll
might
think
get the
about
court
that.
kind of messy, though. You might spill your beer.
Yeah, I don't think that you'll hit it. I mean, I've had beer at a tennis court before, just like there was some special occasion and it was fine. It survived.
So, would you guys say that it's easy or hard to be vegan where you are? Is it easy or hard?
I think it's really easy here, at least. It became really easy during the past few years. I don't have any problems with eating out. I think it's quite easy. Also at home, when you cook, it's well, I mostly cook. Well, because I'm from a small town, we don't have almost any plant-based alternatives to animal-derived foods here, but I don't need them. So I cook beans, legumes, and veggies, and so on, and that's the cheapest food, right? So
Yeah.
I, I think it's really easy here.
Michael?
I think it's easy certainly when you cook by yourself. It's like super easy. Once you get the hang of it, once you find out some recipes or you just wing it like I do intuitively, it's fun and easy. And as far as buying products, not a problem. We don't have a one-stop shop for vegan products. So sometimes you have to go to a couple stores. That's not a big deal. Usually people do that anyway. Eating out also became really easy. Olomouc just got a new fine dining vegan restaurant last year. Of course, they've been hit pretty hard due to the Corona situation.
Yeah.
And the city also has a vegan pub, which has been here for a few years now.
A vegan
Right,
pub.
a vegan pub, and of course they focus on beer and drinks and snacks, but often they do vegan burgers.
That's
Some of the
great.
best vegan burgers ever.
Yeah. They do a good business. They're pretty busy, and that's
They
great.
are.
So now we've talked about you're saying it's pretty easy to be vegan where you're at.
Yeah.
But as vegans, what are the struggles to being vegan?
Well, the selection, of course, is smaller in terms of restaurants. Sometimes it would be a time struggle where it's like some vegan restaurants may not be open long enough or
Weird hours. Yeah, I
weird
found that.
hours,
Yeah.
basically. But we got the pub, and now that things have opened up again, lockdown is being loosened up. It's not a problem. They were open until 10. In fact, Zdenek and I, we just went there the other day to check it out,
Awesome.
of course. So,
Just
but
to check it out.
I think the main struggles is in stores or in restaurants, which I don't go to non-vegan restaurants anymore. I mean, because of these struggles, you have to explain a lot to waiters,
And
ask
then sometimes you
questions.
can't trust them.
Exactly. You
Yeah,
have to
I've
explain to
started to
them.
become like that myself.
So less and less I go to non-vegan places, and in the stores there's usually no struggles. Some supermarkets here, there's one supermarket chain which is actually Austrian. They don't have many vegan products, so it's
What about
so
like shampoos and soaps and all that stuff? Do you guys not just foods? Do you have like if somebody came there, would they be able to find vegan and soaps, shampoos, all that stuff? Toiletries is what we call 'em, or even alternatives to leathers, things like that. Are those available to you there?
You have to know where to go, but they're available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's a I guess you could call it pharmacy. It's not really like an American pharmacy. It's a drogerie markt. That's the name. So it's toiletries and cleaning supplies, and they also have a section of organic foods, and 90% of it is vegan. And so they have organic, vegan, not tested on animals cosmetics. A lot of it at a really good price. Like compared to the US, the price is like almost half.
Wow.
And it's really great stuff, great shampoo. So the common toiletry stuff is really easy to find in these stores. There are two chains. And yeah, but for some things, as Zdenek said, you have to know where to go.
Yeah. So we've talked about how easy it is to be vegan, and most people, when they think of veganism, automatically, we talk about food a lot, automatically think it's a diet. But what do people actually think about animal rights where you live? Not just veganism as a diet, but animal rights.
So that's a bit different, yeah. Now the number dwindles of those who really take it seriously. Because it, as you said, it's not only food, it's everything. It's abstaining from leather, silk, down, all these other products.
Zoos, aquariums, attractions like that.
Circuses. Yeah. And yeah, I think the Czech Republic is a little bit behind in that when it comes to animal rights, but catching up actually really quickly. So a little bit behind the US, Germany, UK, France. But we have a really great animal rights community here. And really amazing people that are doing just an outstanding job. So it's catching up. And I'm really confident that it's going to reach the level that you are used to in the US or somewhere else in the world.
What do you think, Zdenek?
We still do cubes.
You did one yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah. We do vigils, marches when it's possible, some other types of demonstrations.
So, Zdenek, tell me, what kind of reception do you feel like you get when you do those things? Do you do, like when you do AV cubes, can I ask you, do you do outreach at all or do you stay in the cube?
I also do outreach.
You also do outreach? How do you feel like people receive the message? What's your impression of that?
Well, it's different with different people, but and also with different places. But I think it's not that bad. People usually agree when it comes to the treatment of animals, to say. And we usually arrive to the conclusion that their rights should be respected, although you always can meet some people who are not willing to even stop to think about it.
Sure.
Or sometimes, for example, lately I heard about a doctor who had no idea about veganism and thought there are no vegan doctors, so that's why he That's why he didn't want his patient to be vegan.
So with the activism, you said you have a great activism community there. I have seen some of it online, and I know that you do. Um, but with all the different forms of activism that you might be involved in, what would you guys say is your favorite form of activism?
Yeah, my favorite is the Cube of Truth. So by the
And
way,
you're an organizer there, aren't you?
yeah, we're both. So we're our co-organizers of
Okay.
Anonymous for the Voiceless chapter in Olomouc here.
So you have three organizers there because I saw you with the female.
No, so
online.
this was in Brno. So on
Okay.
May 21st, on May 21st, we traveled to Brno because it was their first post-lockdown cube.
Oh, okay. I
We've
understand.
already held a few cubes even during the lockdown, so we
Yeah.
wanted to support them, and so that's why we did the live stream. That's available on the Anonymous for the Voiceless Facebook page. And so she's the organizer in Brno, and Alex, and she's also
And you two are Olomouc?
and we are Olomouc, the two of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's wonderful.
And she's also the regional organizer for Czech Republic.
Okay. That's great. So I'm sure I've talked to her on some of our meets. So
Yeah. So we did a lot of cubes in Olomouc. So actually, this chapter, along with the Prague chapter, came first into existence 3 years ago. So in roughly spring of 2018, and then many other chapters followed. And
how many chapters do you think I mean, it's not really relevant to our conversation. I was just curious. How many chapters do you think you guys have in the Czech Republic?
Well, at some point we had 14, but some
Wow.
chapters, yeah.
That's great.
Even some smaller cities, like cities with 20,000
Wow.
people. But now some chapters have become kind of inactive. So
Well,
right now,
it's been hard during the lockdown.
Yeah.
So, some people will fall out and some people just life takes over. So
like right now we have so solid 5-6 chapters that we're doing cubes either during the lockdown or now post-lockdown. And so, but
So
I'm
you'd
sure
say
it's
that
going to pick up.
So you're saying your favorite form of activism is the one-on-one talking to people on the streets, the cube-like thing, doing like AV does. What about you, Zdenek?
Yeah, cubes are also one of my favorite forms of activism. But I also like, and I think it's quite effective to just regular talking with, especially my colleagues or classmates, and the people I study with, or some new friends who are not vegan that I meet occasionally. So talking to them, making them interested in veganism. They're usually interested in veganism without my influence, and when they meet some vegans, they just naturally ask them about veganism. So that's why I like it. And then some academic activism, like trying to produce some useful papers or stuff.
So writing, communication. I think that for a lot of us that are in AV or in that style of activism, I think the reason it was a natural evolution for us is because that's our preferred style of is one-on-one talking to people and making that connection one-on-one in those conversations. I know for me personally, it was a natural evolution for me when AV came around because I had been kind of doing it for almost a decade, whether I was at a bar and talking to my bartender or I was at a gas station talking to my cashier. or just talking to a coworker about veganism. When AV came around, it just seemed like a natural extension of that, because
Yeah,
I
definitely.
really like I'm best at one-on-one back and forth conversations rather than just like leafletting, which people just throw them down, or just something just really cold that you don't get any feedback from. I need to have the back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So great. So let me ask you guys: if a vegan visits where you live, where should they go? Now, this does not have to mean a restaurant. It could mean any place. So, what do you guys? It could be a restaurant if you want. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be. What do you think?
So Olomouc has a lot of supermarkets. Some of them have a great selection of vegan products. So Globus would be the one that would come into my mind that probably has the largest selection. It's a German supermarket chain. In Germany, they have an even bigger selection. So that's why I was saying, in general, animal rights and veganism is still slightly behind, but it's catching up. Globus, Albert, and then some
Specific.
some okay. You're
That's
going
all
to
right.
cut
That's
that
like
out.
me trying to say Zdenek's name.
Specificity, some specificity about this country and in general Europe is little mom and pop shops, and these are usually vegetarian stores, like 99% vegan actually.
Wow.
And Olomouc has like 6 or 7 of them, so you can find anything, like almost
Wow.
anything
That's
vegan.
great.
They're called healthy lifestyle. That's the
Okay.
term in Czech, zdravá výživa,
Okay.
health food store.
Yeah. Sure. So, besides like supermarkets, what kind of attractions should they go to, or
I would recommend some Sanctuary,
do you have sanctuaries there?
definitely.
Awesome. What kind
Around,
do you go to them yourselves? How many? Do you know how many you have?
I think around 14 now.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think
And then,
Olomouc doesn't have like any sanctuary, but there's one nearby, like 30 miles would be the closest
You're
one.
saying in the Czech Republic, basically.
Yeah, in the
Yes.
Czech Republic.
Yes.
So you could like visiting the city of Olomouc now specifically as a tourist. I mean, this is such a rich area. So if you love nature, there is a kind of a national protected area or nature preserve right around the river called Morava. You could do bike rides there. You could jog. You could just enjoy the forest. You could go to the lake, which is nearby. There is a rollerblading area. Sorry, inline skating, inline skating area where it's also kind of in the fields. It's really very well developed. And when it comes to history, I definitely recommend visiting maybe some churches, visiting the city center with.
Yeah, I mean, the Czech Republic is known for their architecture, so.
Right. Definitely visiting around noon in front of the city hall and watching the clock tower do some magic sounds.
So let me ask you guys, what's your each of you tell me, what is your favorite vegan dish?
So my favorite dish since I was little was fried cauliflower.
Really? Since you were a kid? It just
Since I
doesn't
was
seem
a kid,
like a natural thing for a kid to like.
my mom was doing it, and it's just fried cauliflower patties, and with potatoes and a salad. That was the thing. I was
Your
so
mom just
excited.
knew how to do it right.
She did. So back then, of course, she used eggs. Well, I veganized
Yeah.
it, and I do it in the vegan version, and it's still just
So what do you replace the eggs with? Flax
with
or
flax seeds.
okay. I'm sure your mom would be proud that you still love her Mama's
Oh
dish,
yeah,
except you
yeah,
just veganize.
absolutely.
I've taken several of my mom's dishes that I grew up with and just made vegan versions of them, because I loved my mom's recipe, but now
Yeah,
I just veganize it, you know. Zdenek,
yeah.
what about you?
When it comes to the dishes that I veganized, um, my favorite food used to be uh, svíčková, or that we mentioned. That,
And what is
that's
that?
that's a popular Czech dish. Basically, uh, a sirloin steak with Czech dumplings.
Okay, that's what you guys
We
call
have,
it.
and uh, a vegetable sauce and cranberries. Yeah, so
Wow. So how do you veganize that? Do you make the steak out of portobello mushroom, or how would you
usually
seitan,
I
tofu? What do you?
use, yeah, I usually use tofu.
Okay. So it's all about the sauce. Sounds like
Yeah,
gravy.
definitely.
Isn't it always about the gravy anyway?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, how can people get involved in the local vegan community there?
So definitely we would be happy to welcome activists from Anonymous for the Voiceless from all over the world. If they visit, they can just join our cube. Once things get underway after the lockdown, we'll probably have also gatherings. Sometimes we do picnics. So everybody's welcome at these activities. And people who are new to AV, I would recommend that they look us up. If they come to this region, that they look up AV : Olomouc, Czech Republic. They find our group. They can join the group. That way, they'll find out about our cubes. They can also go to jointhecube.com, and on the map there, they can see our local chapter with a direct link, and they can also see the cubes. The cubes are listed there.
Now, finally, guys, I want to ask you, where would you like to visit one day and learn about veganism there? I know both of you have traveled. Maybe you could think of a place that you have not traveled that you would like to and learn about veganism there.
So I would like to travel to South America.
A specific area or just
Yeah,
in general?
especially Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. So that corner, but I have friends all over the world. So I also have a friend in Argentina. So even Argentina would be amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely want to learn about veganism there. Join Cubes of Truth, or maybe even vigils and other actions. So that's kind of next on my radar once traveling becomes easy again.
Sure.
Also, I'd like to visit Japan and South Korea.
Yeah. Okay. Zdenek, what about you?
I want to go to California because I have some friends there, and I'm quite interested in the veganism out there because it's more advanced, more socially acceptable. Because uh, you know people say when you go from the east to the west of the US, you're getting rid of the rules, and that's why there have been more innovations in California, right? And there's even a course of vegan studies introduced by Renan Larue, who teaches vegan studies at one of the universities out there. So yeah, that's one of the places, and then of course I would like to see meet vegans from Africa, from Asia, all around the world.
Okay, well, hopefully I will get to talk to some people from those areas that you're interested in. I want to thank you guys for coming on and having this chat with me. It was really, really great to see you again. I did have such a wonderful time. The first time I met you and hung out with you guys, it's been, goodness, almost 2 years. So it feels very comfortable to sit and chat with you again. And hopefully one day it'll be face to face again, and we can share some giant pretzels.
Yeah, that would be great.
You can
Yeah,
take me. You can take me
because
that vegan pub you were talking about, and check that out.
so when you come here, yeah, definitely we'll take you to the vegan pub and
Definitely.
it's this amazing vegan restaurant. Um,
We went
well,
to. We went to. All right. We didn't just have pretzels that day. Remember, we went to a, what was the sushi place?
vegan
Yeah.
sushi, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the vegan sushi.
Beyond sushi.
That was pretty good too. So, but
That was
anyway,
very good. That was amazing.
anyway, guys, you know what? It's so wonderful to see you again, and it's so great to just hang out and talk. And yeah, I hope one day I get a chance to come over there and check it out. If not, you know, hopefully we'll get to hang out in New York again or something like that.
I am planning a trip to the US if things work out this fall. So we'll see where it leads me.
Anyway, guys, I know it's getting late for you, and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We will definitely keep in touch and hopefully run into each other soon. All right.
Yes, hopefully.
All right. I'll go
It'll be
ahead and let
great.
you guys go because I know it's
Thank
getting
you so
late.
much for having us.
Thank you for being here. Good night, Michael. I'll let you go. Zdenek,
Good night.
Thank
you
you
guys have
for
a great
inviting.
night.
Yeah.
Have a
Have
great
a
night.
great night
Have a
too.
great day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
It was so wonderful to see them again. I really did have a wonderful time hanging out with them in New York, and they're really, really wonderful guys, a great activists, and just all around, just nice guys, just really easy to hang out with, easy to talk to. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Check out all the links that are included underneath this video. And if you want to know who is good, like, subscribe, share, comment, please do everything. And if you want to know who my next guest is going to be, you'll just have to show up next week. Thank you. Good night, guys. Love ya.